When Saurian was on Kickstarter, I was a stupid 11-year-old boy. I thought it was just the coolest thing ever, and always thought about the wacky and wonderful ways I could raise money to donate with. Somehow though, even without the contribution of my immense wealth, the game managed to amass over $200,000 in funding, and upon the demo's release in 2017 was covered even by Markiplier himself. The promise of more content from both the base game and the stretch goals causing a lot of excitement throughout the community. So it really is such a shame to check their Discord 6 years later and see that there's been complete radio silence for 7 months. What happened? And why is this game constantly looked back on these days with such disappointment and anger? People are usually quick to point out that it not only took the development team 3 years to release Triceratops, but that the T-Rex has still to this day not come out. However, contrary to popular belief, they have worked on the game quite a bit outside of these two dinosaurs, with new AI, new mechanics, upgrades to the gameplay and graphics, and a big long list of bug fixes. But yes, the pace of the game's development has been quite slow, especially in the recent years. In March 2021, the development team would drop the bombshell that the previous owner of the game had slowly siphoned around $75,000 of Kickstarter funds from the company bank account. He had been doing this since 2016, eventually confessing under pressure, and was swiftly removed and replaced, leaving the rest of the team without a whole third of what they'd managed to earn during crowdfunding. Not only was the team disheartened, but lack of money was bound to become an issue sooner or later, and that time seemed to come much faster than they could make progress, as it's been expressed multiple times now that most if not all the developers left working on Saurian do so as volunteers, and are presumably only still putting time into the project due to passion and the promises they'd made all those years ago. In fact, the time they're able to spend on the game has become so rare that they had to ditch the monthly dev blogs altogether, due to the fear that it took even the slightest amount of free time away from development. But, as sad as it is, there's really nothing that can be done about it now. The only thing to be concerned about is the future of the game. So, what is going to happen, and can Saurian ever get back on its feet? I must warn, the conclusions to these questions are not exactly optimistic. I do actually kinda like this game, but being honest has always suited me more than being hopeful. There seems to be no word of anything else coming anytime soon, so it's pretty safe to say that the next update will be the one that adds T-Rex to the game, but when will that be? Well, it's quite hard to tell. Since at least 2022, people have claimed to be sure that T-Rex is coming by the end of the year, and no doubt it'll be the same for 2024. While I'd love to believe that, I really would, I have my doubts. Let's not forget that they stated in their last dev blog that they will post if they have something to show off, and yet there's been 7 months of no updates. Not to mention that they haven't actually showed off T-Rex progress since as far back as April. No, not April last year, April of 2022. Now, even though it's clear not all the animations were done at the time, Jake did say he was powering through the list, and that he was, fair enough. However, programming time has been taken up by nesting, and in the end they have to code not only the playable Rex, but also the AI for each growth stage. So while another year is a long time, when you consider the slowing development speed and the fact that there's probably a good chunk of work left to do, I wouldn't hold your breath. Remember, it took them almost a year to release the updates to the skybox and foliage, a patch that they considered to be small. But alright, let's suppose it does come out, then what? No, I'm serious, what happens then? As popular as T-Rex is, Trike is still almost as well known as it is, and yet it only boosted the already super low player numbers by about double, a number that very swiftly fell back down to what it was prior. Not only that, but the ship for a playable Rex, even an accurate looking one, has long sailed, and with the abysmal review scores on this game, it doesn't look any more appealing to someone than any of those other games do. As eager as the Saurian players are to play Rex, myself included, they're unlikely to play it more than a couple times before going back to the Hopium cycle as they develop Pachycephalosaurus. After all, the game is no more replayable now than it was when Trike came out. So what, if anything, can the devs actually do to bring in that sweet cash? Well, most people seem to want dinosaurs, which we've already been over. Many others would like to see improvements to the current version of the game, such as better AI, maybe better graphics, and while I'm sure everyone would appreciate these, the last time they made graphical updates it didn't exactly help either, even though they fixed a big issue with the frame rate. That leaves us with what I believe is the only base game mechanic that they haven't yet added, being the completed age cycle, with death via old age and such, and stretch goal mechanics, both of which seem to be pretty neglected in my poll so far. Even if people seem to want them, many of the stretch goal mechanics are pretty lengthy coding and or 3D modeling tasks. Even something as simple as skins will probably take a big chunk of time. There's things I'd want in-game, like a simple herbivore migration system that makes being in a herd not feel like you can't go anywhere, for example. I also think Anzu and its AI would be a great next addition after T-Rex to spice up nesting gameplay a lot more. But if I'm honest, I can't think of anything achievable that would really boost the game up to the heights it needs to carry on development as normal. Hell, I'm starting to think nothing can. And that is the sad state of Saurian.
Oh, when did you get over here?
Dr. Freeman.